Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to When the Night Comes, my playthrough of this game. I absolutely love this game so much, and I'm excited to finish it up with. Today we'll be covering chapters 9 and 10, and yeah, we will dive right into it from where I last left off, which was right here. But yeah, this is a quick recap. Um, Last time we confronted Harry, and it was all very dramatic. And we are doing the route where you sort of trick Harry into thinking that you're on his side, but you aren't actually. And yeah, just for a little bit of angst. But yeah, I'm excited to jump right back into the game. Harry inclines his head, gesturing for me to follow him. I swallow thickly and moving, literally stuck to the spot beside August as I come to terms with what I'm about to do. They're falling apart, their magic glow in messy fissures across their skin like cracks in porcelain. I want to tell them that I have to do this for the sake of Lunaris. To learn what he plans so we can defeat him, or whatever he has in store for us. And yet, I can't, so August looks at me as though I've just signed the town's death warrant. August. They shake their head, averting their gaze.
Get out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Harry lets out a deep chuckle, his eyes crinkling at the corners in genuine
Always
amusement.
so dramatic. Come now, we cannot waste time convincing someone as stubborn as Augustus. They'll come around eventually.
I throw them one last lingering look, hoping with every fiber of my being that August can see through the facade. That they can still see that I am loyal to them, to the town. And that I would risk my own life to head into the lion's den with the lion himself gently guiding me gently by the hand. Drip, drip, drip of water upon stone drowns out the rush of blood in my ears, and I follow the tall figure deeper into the darkness. His boots are heavy, steps echoing, and I can hear the gentle scratch of his claw-tipped gauntlets as he drags his fingers along the metal bars of the cells as we pass. Enforcer guards line the walls, and they stand to attention, eyes wide. I slowly begin to see why the enforcers had so dutifully followed his nefarious plan. They're terrified. We come to a halt outside one of the farthest cells that sit in the darker corner of the dungeon, and Harry stands before it proudly, an almost loving gaze shining in his eyes. Take a look, Gray. He gestures for me to step closer, his voice warm and inviting, and I swallow all the fear that claws up my throat, threatening to choke me. I nod, stealing my gaze, and I step forward to peek between the bars. I see a mass looming in the almost darkness. It's her. Her misshapen form, unidentifiable, is neither human nor creature. With a quiet whimper, she opens her eyes.
Isn't she beautiful?
Aya. Harry hums, a satisfied noise.
My proudest creation yet. She is truly a work of art. Don't you agree?
She's so perfect. She's definitely not terrifying at all. she's perfect. I clear my throat, and though I feel horror from seeing her, I also feel drawn to her. There's a strange, almost undeniable connection thrumming between us, and it's as though I can feel the lingering threads of her humanity, of the hunter within her. Strangely, it sings to me like a prayer, and I find myself having to pay mind to the fact that I'm here to lie, to gather information. It still leaves me feeling sick. There's something about seeing it, about seeing her, that makes my blood turn cold in my veins. She's perfect.
Not quite, but she's close.
What do you mean? Scary sound. Harry sighs, and Aya lunges forward, sharpened teeth snapping. He remains unaffected despite her violent display, and he simply inclines his head towards her, watching her with an unabashed fondness.
She was an unwilling subject. Both of them were. I think that may be where I've been going wrong. To succeed, to achieve what I've always longed to, I believe the hunter in question must be prepared to undergo the transformation.
I look back towards the cell, and I has once again retreated into the darkness, no longer visible other than a pair of glowing crimson eyes. Is this what you're asking of me? Harry pauses, carefully considering his response. Why do you think I called you here? I asked for the best, and they sent me you. At first, I thought they were toying with me. This hunter who befriends those who make a point of defying me.
The curious witch, the vampire who so desperately longs to be human, the disgraced hunter, the wolf, and the demon who so graciously weakened the barrier between realms without even realizing. And then there's Augustus.
He smiles, something sad, his lashes dipping.
I did hope they would see reason, but something seems to have made them less helpless, less easily swayed.
Yeah, they're friends again. That's up to me. Regardless, come. I have much to do. I cast Aya a final, fleeting glance, and I steal my gaze. I follow Harry out of the dungeons. My heart hammers loudly as we approach August's office, but the lack of light streaming from beneath the door tells me that we'll find it empty. Harry tuts when my suspicions are confirmed, and he looks at me with a sad smile when we step inside.
I did hope they'd still be here. Maybe you would have been able to convince them to help.
Yeah, definitely want to do that. I offer him a clip smile, trying my hardest to seem complacent. Now, the terms of our agreement. He flexes the fingers of his gauntlet, the steel creaking quietly.
Aya is increasingly volatile, and I loathe to admit that I can't control her any longer. So, I want to waste no time. We'll start you on your first dose right away.
Then he reaches into his coat and produces a vial. It feels so eerily familiar, and the sight of the dark, viscous liquid encased in the delicate glass makes me feel sick. He holds it high, gazing at it, shamelessly proud of his nefarious creation.
You know, I would give anything to be able to take it. I suspect I would withstand it quite beautifully.
Take it then. The moonlight that shines through the window hits the glass, a liquid more black than the red I remember from my dream, and my stomach churns.
But we can't all have what we wish for, can we? Instead, we'll do it together.
He tucks the vial back into his pocket, patting the heavy fabric.
Now, I suppose you'd better go home and get some well-deserved rest. You'll need your strength. We'll begin tomorrow.
Yes, sir. My stomach churns, but I nod curtly. Yes, Lieutenant General. He laughs, stepping forward to rest his hand upon my shoulder and fixing me with a gaze that, though earnest, sends a chill rolling down my spine.
Please, call me Harry.
Yeah, okay, bestie. Okay, worsty. I contemplate my next move. I could drag myself back to my room at the Wolf and drown in misery alone, I suppose. They say hunters sleep with one eye open, but enforcers sleep with two, and you don't get as far as Harry without paying full attention. There's no use hating him, not now. I've seen what I need in order to make my choice. And yet, it still hurts, and a strategic part of me loathes the fact that I lied. That I'd gone with him down there, witness the true horror of his crimes. Though I have some explaining to do, I know it'll be worth it. Listen, we had to know we were up against. We had to know. We had to see her with our own eyes, get part of his plan. You know, it's strategic. Especially now as I think about Aya, Piper, and August. They'll understand. It's fine. Only a little heartbroken. An enforcer passes me, sparing me a glance before they quickly avert their gaze, their head down. They scurry away from me quickly, and I almost smile, fascinated at how fast gossip apparently travels in our dear agency. With a heavy sigh, I decide the best thing to do will be sleep off this evening and face the wrath of my friends in the morning. I don't think you're that lucky. A headache is starting to develop behind my eyes by the time I open the door to the tavern and head inside. Despite the hour, there's hardly anyone in here, and my eyes immediately drawn to a pair of hunched figures and that familiar enforcer black and gold in the corner. The attention isn't reciprocated, and they stay where they are, muttering amongst themselves. Just some colleagues enjoying some cheap booze after work. Nothing more. There's no reason to believe Harry would spy on me so openly, but I know at the very least he'll keep an eye on me. Were my lies convincing enough? Could he tell I was deceiving him? I forced myself to walk out of the tavern and up the stairs to my room, forcing my jaw to relax. With a heavy sigh, I unlock the door and step to my room. I sit upon my pathetic excuse for a mattress, and the bruises I've tried to bury deep suddenly throb, inside and out. Harry's face. His blithe conviction this is somehow the right path. The niggling, obedient, insidious doubt in me that whispers that perhaps he's right. Perhaps prices must be paid for our safety. He's Lieutenant General, and I'm only a hunter. Only a soldier. I scoff, climbing beneath the sheets and resting my head upon a pillow. Nothing has been done yet, and I still almost feel sick to my stomach. But the worry is more muted now, further away. Tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll figure this out. We'll all figure it out together. I visit August first thing, and when they opened their door and invited me inside, I met with silence. I had to check, I was deceiving him, that I would never do such a thing. August's fingers twitch, but they slowly offer me a clipped smile.
I know. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to witness. You've become very dear to me. Seeing you walk out of that door with him, not knowing what he would do or where he would take you, it hurt.
Oh, sorry, bestie. I would never betray your trust, August. It kills me to see that I've hurt them, but to hear that they do trust me soothes me. I would never betray your trust, not after all we've been through together. The smile that blooms across her lips is bright and earnest.
I'm grateful for your friendship, and I trust you implicitly. We will see this through together, and I'll have your back. Always.
This scene is also, or not this scene in particular, but the scene sort of before that is a lot different, sort of depending on what route you're on, and you'll kind of get sort of a moment with your love interest or interests for the poly routes where they kind of talk to you and see, kind of where your head's at. And it is very heartbreaking, especially if you, betrayed them and did go with Harry for real. They take a deep breath, exhaling slowly, and the tension that was present melts from their shoulders.
Now tell me, what did you see?
He has eye in a cell. There's not even a glimmer of a human form left. I see. He means for me to take the potion he's concocted. He said that he believes me to be worthy. If someone is willing, then he's convinced the potion will work differently. August scoffs, rolling their eyes. Their sadness seems to have turned to exasperation. His pride will be the death of us all, won't it?
We'll need to gather everyone and come up with some kind of plan, and quickly.
I nod. Right away. That afternoon, we meet in the catacombs, aware it's probably the only location in town at this point where Harry cannot have us watched. Squad! The whole squad is here. There's a growing, awkward silence between us, August frowning down at their feet with a sudden, intense concentration. I almost laugh at the sight of this mismatched group huddled in Finn's quarters, and Finn's eyes are firmly fixed upon Piper, who unabashedly pokes and prods his belongings. It picks up what I assume to be a very real human skull, staring deep into its vacant eye sockets, and then smirking smugly at our undead companion.
This what you use to practice your flirting every night?
Finn grins, shrugging with a cocky kind of nonchalance.
I don't need to practice.
He has Ezra for that. Piper scoffs, placing it back upon the shelf. Sure. August groans loudly. Right, can we please get on with this? I can always feel my skin cursing me for spending so much time down in this damp pit. Then they all pointedly look at me, and I realize that the floor is mine. Right. Yes. Omen and Alcar are patrolling the woods, making sure that we know where the best spot to meet Harry will be. Ezra raises his hands, and August rolls her eyes at his politeness. He's just being polite, August. You could learn something. How are we going to get him to come find you? And how do you know he'll have Aya with him? Piper's gaze drops to the floor at the mention of her friend's name. He'll come. He means to give me his concoction and have me drink it. I'll figure that part out when I get to it, I suppose.
I'm guessing we don't need to advise you that drinking it would be a terrible idea, no? Your acting doesn't need to be that good.
I mean, if we're going to sell this. Yes, General. Then Piper clears her throat. I need to be the one to stop Aya. Everyone looks at her, gaze is sympathetic.
She was my friend, and I might not be able to save her, but I can make sure it's as quick as possible.
August wraps an arm around her shoulder and pulls her close. Their embrace quick but meaningful. We understand. Whatever you need.
And what of us? What do you need us to do?
Before I can respond, August steps
Have
forward.
our backs if necessary. Other than that, just stay hidden. The last thing we need is to rile him up further by flaunting our alliance with the very creatures he longs to eliminate.
Especially once he realizes that Gray has deceived him. We can't imagine how he will react, but it won't be well. Ben and Ezra exchange a look, and I can feel apprehension rolling off of them in waves, but they still nod their agreement. So, I'm using myself as bait, essentially. Fun. We gotta do what we gotta do. He'll pay for what he's done.
Then all we need to do is wait.
Finn scoffs, crossing his arms across his broad chest.
Remember what I said about him. He is strong and clever. Don't let the fact that he's human give you pause. You don't need to hold back.
If I've learned anything about Harry in the years that I've known him, it's that he never backs down when he has his sights set on something. August's eyes working their bottom lip between their teeth.
Yes, Finnegan is right. And he doesn't give a damn about the cost of his actions anymore either, clearly.
That thought has my skin prickling with heat, my hair standing on end. He truly will stop at nothing. James' death proved that to all of us. We'll end this, once and for all. It's dusk in Lunaris. My feet are sore and my eyes tired, and all I can think about is how much I can't wait for all of this to be over. In school, they trained us to kill monsters, and the irony of my current predicament does not escape me. Despite countless hours of training and studying, nothing could ever have prepared me to fight my greatest enemy yet, Lieutenant General of Escria. Harry is the true culprit, and it's still hard to grasp that he's the one responsible for the gruesome murders that brought me here. As I sink further into the town, the feeling of dread that's been a constant in the pit of my stomach since I arrived strangely seems to dissipate. I wander with a purpose through the narrow streets, hyper-focused on the task in hand. I'm ready to ensure that this place that I've come to call my home is once again safe and in the hands of those who truly care for it. The only thing that distracts me from such thoughts is the way the sky begins to turn from a purple to an inky, infinite black. I turn a corner, and I'm met with a familiar sight of people moving to get inside as darkness overtakes the town. The sound of doors slamming and locking echoes off the crooked stonework. Curtains are drawn, windows are closed, and then darkness. And through that there, if you remember at the very beginning of the game, it's sort of a direct mirror to the very first scene in the game. Although the stars are shining brightly at a glance and the crescent moon hangs low, neither offer much light. I think back to the first night I arrived and how much my life has changed since then. A lump forms in my throat as I realize that I've been gifted what I haven't known since childhood. A home, a family to call my own. So many things have been taken from me, from all of us. I strain my shoulders, taking a deep breath. No more. Determination licks through my bones and I pick up the pace, boots heavy and loud against the cobblestones. The instincts that have been ingrained in me since my initiation into the order kick in, and I know that I will win this fight. After all, I haven't lost one yet. I can feel eyes upon me, watching, waiting. Yeah, they're right there in the trees. The trees having eyes always gets me. Though they're kind eyes, the watchful gaze of my friends and allies tucked safely away in the thick forest. No matter how much I insisted I'd be fine alone, the stubborn bastards wouldn't take no for an answer. So I stand, and I wait. I think back to my brief time with James, and all I can hope is that I make him proud tonight. Then footsteps. A rhythmic crunch, crunch, crunch. And there he stands, bathed in darkness, his sharp gauntlet resting proudly atop the pommel of his sword. Good. Good look at him. He smiles. Are you ready? Yeah, I am. I step closer to him and I eye his jacket, knowing that the vial rests inside. I am. He makes a show of it, his smile smug like a proud parent as he retrieves it. He holds it high and my stomach turns against the side of it, knowing that this is the thing that murdered my colleagues. Then, that by proxy murdered James. Harry sighs, gazing at me fondly as he takes my hand in his own, laying the delicate glass in my palm and closing my fingers around it.
A toast, then. to new beginnings.
He steps away, his hand once again coming to rest upon his sword, and he watches me carefully as I pry the cork free, and I pour the contents onto the ground.
No!
I stand firm when he strides forward. It would be funny if you could if you could betray your friends at the 11th hour and you're like, actually, yeah, I am going to take this. That would be very funny. I stand firm where he strides forward, my fingers hovering over my own weapon. I'm here to end this. A manic laugh echoes around the clearing. End what? End my attempt to fix the imbalance in our world? To stop me from saving humanity? I thought you better than that, Hunter Enright. To waste such a precious opportunity, I'm disappointed. I clench my jaw, willing myself to remain calm.
I still embody the righteousness of our order and the will that protects us all. You trained all those years just to defy the very one that guided you, shaped you.
Then he stills, pressing his palm to his chest.
I swear that no night will be traversed in fear, that morning will be a promise and not a hope. I swear I shall lay down my life in the cause of my duty to protect the vulnerable from the creatures of this realm and any beyond it. Until my final breath, I pledge myself to you, body, mind, and soul.
The pledge, the oath that we take before consuming the poison they feed us. The words sound so empty to me now that I know what's become of this order. And yet, you never took that oath, did you? Bitchy move. You couldn't possibly fathom the weight that those words carry. He drops his hand back to his weapon and he laughs
You're
again.
right. I am no hunter. I was never worthy, but I have loved a hunter, and I have seen the things they must endure.
It's not the same. I almost want to scoff at him, to laugh in the face of his supposed understanding. He may have loved a hunter, but he killed him too. He surveys me for a second, eyes narrowed, and then he inclines his head. So what now? Do you intend to kill me? Killing me would be against your precious code, wouldn't it? I freeze, my fingers tight around my weapon, my knuckles bleeding white. Harry notices, and he's pleased with himself. We did just fine killing your monster. He clenches his jaw. I have things to do. Let's just get this over with, shall we?
Final chance. You can still join me. There's more where that came from.
I don't need to hesitate in my response. Never. Calmly, he smiles, flexing his gauntlets. Oh. A wounded noise rings out around us, something broken and terrible enough to make me want to cover my ears.
A shame. You would have been magnificent.
The sound of his sword makes as he draws it from its sheath is cutting, and the impressive weapon glows to life, emanating a bright golden glow. Mental reminder to ask August if they knew about that little surprise. He's fast, faster than I expected, and now I finally get to see the infamous prowess of Harold Addington III up close. I parry his heavy blows with relative ease, trained to anticipate every move things far more cunning than him might make. I wonder if he's underestimated me like all enforcers do of their hunters. Then, out of the corner of my eyes, I see her, Aya. Branches twist and snap against the weight of her misshapen frame as she pushes through the brush, her maw wide and vicious, teeth snapping as she struggles forward. Harry could catch me off guard, could see my momentary distraction with the perfect opportunity to strike me down, but he stopped, staring me down with wild eyes.
Look what you could have. What we could have.
I try to remain unaffected, but confusion and anger twist in my guts. I am no monster. Harry narrows his eyes at me, fingers tight around the hilt of the sword.
I beg to differ.
With that, he lunges forward and we begin our dance once again. I'm fighting a man I do not want to kill, no matter the crimes he's committed, for I'm not the monster he wants me to be. I need to subdue him, and fast, because in my peripheral I can see Aya lurking, and I know that Harry does not have any semblance of control over her. She could turn on either of us at any moment. Then, when Aya does set her crimson eyes upon Harry and I see daggers glint in the moonlight. Piper's daggers. She tears from the forest with a battle cry, heading straight for the misshapen creature. She meets each one of her lazy attacks with unbidden power, and I try not to let myself become distracted by them, knowing Piper can handle it. Aya isn't one of us anymore. Not anymore. The hunter and human within her long dead. All that remains is a husk, all thanks to the man who stands so boldly before me.
So, you did bring your friends. I knew you wouldn't face me alone.
We're strong together. I scoff, wiping sweat from my brow with the back of my hand. I see now that you long for us to fight alone because you want us to be disposable and forgettable. You called me here to turn me into a monster, but I made Lunaris my home. That must really piss you off. With clenched teeth and a growl, Harry's carefully crafted composure withers and dies as he hurls forward. He lunges, the tip of his blade pointing towards my chest. I shift to parry his attack. Within that second, however, his body pivots and I see the aim in his misdirection. Quick thinking on his part, but I must be quicker. Starp Shield hummed at the clash of my weapon against his own, and I can feel the oppressive weight of his desperation trying to blow me down. As soon as I force him back, he strikes at me again. His attacks seem to be without pattern, like random unguided flurry, but in those eyes I see a man with deadly calculation. Each blow given means to take a tendon, a weak point, a place not always vital, but just enough to keep me from fighting back. Harry believes it all to be luster, and therein lies his hubris, his weakness. I can see his confidence soar with every blow that barely finds its intended spot, and he seeks to overwhelm me. I'll continue to enjoy letting him think he can. I cast Piper Glance when I can. The cacophony of battle all around us numbs my ears, but I can still hear her, see her, and feel the thrum of angry adrenaline coursing through her. It's not unlike my own, and like her, I trust my instincts to guide me. Purposely, I let my stride waver, become also haggard, fearful even. I adopt a stance that tries to let the predator think he's weakened his prey, and Harry catches the bait like a moth to a flame. He smirks, another blow.
Come now, Hunter. You made for such a good show before, don't falter now.
I'm in quick appreciation for him covered in blood. He wears it so well. It's good, looks good. Is that what you think? I thought you better than this. How disappointing. I force him back again, and though I make him believe he has the upper hand, Harry is a force to be reckoned with. He mimics the same attempt he made at the beginning, sword to chest, but this time with intent. He doesn't change his direction, and there's renewed force behind it. The blow rattles my bones when the attack connects with my weapon, and his sword reverberates with the magic enchanted into its steel, Harry using the pressure to force me down. His concentration, all pitted against my weapon-wielding side, allows me an opening. Though Harry may be strong, he doesn't account for me being able to hold him back with one arm. My free hand reaches for my concealed dagger, the one given to us by the Academy during initiation, and I seek to implant it in his side. To my surprise, Harry releases one hand from the hilt of his sword, stopping the dagger before it can meet the vulnerable point between his ribs. He grimaces of pain when the dagger's edge slides across his palm, deep crimson slick on silver, and yet he still grips it with fervor. His body trembles, but he grins at me despite it all. Close. Stars flicker between my eyes when Harry headbutts me, a sickening crack, and I stumble away from him, struggling to regain my footing in the dizzying haze. I barely have time to register his next attack, and a downward swing of his sword knocks my weapon from my hand. This isn't going well. This is going bad. He connects a kick to my sternum, and I fall to the dirt. I see the man I'm supposed to call my leader, giving himself a moment to relish his triumph. He observes the dagger that bloodied his hand and huffs a tired laugh.
It would have been ironic if I was the one to give this to you. I suppose this will have to do.
He discards it with a shrug and walks towards me. He truly means to kill me. With renewed confidence, he swings his sword with a flourish, a fluid moment that shows his weapon is just another part of him, and now it rushes for me. I breathe deeply and try to regain lucidity, but it won't be enough. Just as his blade is about to meet me, it's repelled by a brilliant flash. Thank you, baby. Hi, bestie. That haze, that smell, that aura fills my senses. I know exactly who it is.
Augustus?
Harry strides backward as August stalks forward, cracks of magic snapping at him with palpable intensity. He forces back the attacks with the enchantment upon his blade, but cannot stop the overbearing force that shocks his body every time they use their power upon him. I watch August gracefully turn their pain into fury, magic licking across her skin as they weave spell after powerful spell to combat each of his would-be blows while I regain my footing. Their body shakes with lingering static as they finally relax, eyes glow in the darkness. Harry spits blood, finally faltering to the onslaught, and his body gives way, falling to his knees. Augustin appears at my side, frantically scanning for any injuries, but I wave them off, adrenaline still coursing violently through my veins. I'm fine. You're sure? I nod, turning my attention to Harry. What a CG. What a CG. Oh my god. He kneels in the dirt, his dusty black coat pooling around him, his right hand red with blood. His breathing is labored, but I know we didn't harm him enough for there to be any immediate threat to his life. I glance over at the heap of blood and bones of his once her fellow hunter. Piper kneels beside her, and Ezra holds her tightly as Finn watches in silent support. I see Omen and Alcar emerge from the forest, and in the tree line a litany of glowing red eyes. Clan. The pain and suffering in this clearing alone is enough to make me furious, enough to warrant this man's death, and yet... He looks up at me with those piercing blue eyes.
Just do it!
August rests her hand upon my arm, but I don't want to meet their gaze, afraid of what I might find. Gray. I stared down at him, at my Lieutenant General, and I remembered the taste of it. The vial cold in my palm. An encouraging smile from the enforcer who handed to me, a child so easy to please and feel loved after being taken from their family. Magic and the blood of other foreign things coursing through my body, seeping and sinking deep into my bones like an incurable infection. I said my vows and took my oath, and I became theirs. I have been faithful to their cause, all of us have, and this is where it ends. This is where I break it. Oh, achievement unlocked. No matter how long I live, there's one sight, one moment I could never erase from my mind. Harold Addington on his knees, covered in blood, asking me, no, begging me to end it all. My whole body trembles with the effort of my steps that follow August into the depths of the dungeons. I'm exhausted, beat and bruised at the hand of the person who dragged me into this mess. The man who vowed to protect me, to protect us all. August and I do not speak. In fact, I don't think I've spoken since the enforcers burst into that clearing, grabbing their leader by his shoulders, yanking him away from my weapon. Would I have finished him had he asked again, if I had the chance? I suppose I'll never know, but the anger and hurt I'm feeling are stifling, almost suffocating. August pauses before me. Their long fingers curl around the bars of the door that separates us from the line of cells, and they take a deep, shuddering breath. I'm almost scared to look at them because I've seen them cry enough for one lifetime. When they finally do speak, their voice is quiet and strained.
I cannot promise I'll be of much use.
It's okay, August. They nod, drawing in a serrated breath and letting it out slowly. Then they push, iron scraping across the uneven stone as we enter. Every enforcer that lines the seemingly never-ending corridor stands to attention when they see August. And it's now I realize that with Harry chained in a cell, that they are the most senior officer in Lunaris. The thought calms me somewhat, to know that amongst all this chaos, that we are now in the hands of one of the people I trust the most. Capable hands. Even if it is temporary. The loud click of their shoes resumes as they stride past the dungeon guards with purpose, but their eyes are still down, not a trace of their usual authoritative way that they hold themselves. I follow dutifully, a slight limp to my side, every muscle and bone in my body protesting as I move. I can feel the pull of dry blood upon my skin, not entirely sure if it's his or mine, but I know that he got more than a few hits in on me. I should probably see Ezra soon. August approaches the head guard that is stationed opposite Harry's cell. Has he been in any trouble? No, General Willenheim. I mean, Lieutenant. However, he has been talking to himself. August nods at her, turning to face me and running a hand over their face, exasperated.
Let us just get this over with.
August steps falter as they draw near to the final cell, where the man they once viewed as something akin to a father is contained. I can hear him whispering, his voice soft and lacking the venom that was steeped in just hours ago. I swear I hear him utter James' name. August closes their eyes, dropping their chin to their chest. They must have heard it too. I wonder if his fallen husband is really with him, or if he's finally lost his mind. Again, August takes a deep breath and looks at me. I nod, stepping closer to show my support is unwavering and that I'm here, and we approach the bars together. Harry falls silent. Oof. He's stripped of his weapon and enforcer entire, left in nothing but muddy trousers and blood-stained shirt. Somehow, he still manages to look refined, even through the bruises and cuts that litter his handsome face. He sits with his back against the wall, his knees drawn tight to his chest, arms casually slung over them. The golden glint of his wedding ring catches my eye as he twists it around his finger, the sight making my chest hurt, even after all he's done. His cheeks are ruddy, The dirt and blood that's caked upon his sin streaked with tear tracks, now dried.
I am glad that it will be you, Augustus.
August clears their throats, curling their hands into fists.
What makes you think that I will show you mercy?
Harry stands, the movement clearly a great effort for him. He grimaces as he straightens up, watching us watch him as he approaches the bars, and his demeanor shifts into something more familiar, something hardened. You were a worthy opponent, Gray. I haven't hurt like this in decades. I ignore him, giving August the
I will
floor.
ask again. What makes you think that I will show you even a sliver of mercy after all that you've done?
Harry curls his fingers around the bars, his face half illuminated by dull candlelight, half bathed in shadows. He looks older than I remember, tired, defeated. He studies August, his eyes flickering over their features.
Because you are no murderer.
August's knuckles bleed white where they continue to ball their hands, and it would appear that they don't have a response for him. I step forward, as close as I can, but with the worry that Harry might try and do something stupid that would result in him receiving a broken arm. And what about me? Am I a murderer? Harry smiles smugly.
If you were, we wouldn't be standing here having this conversation, would we? You had your chance, you hesitated. Hunters do not hesitate.
Just because you're a monster doesn't mean I am. He sighs, leaning forward and pressing his face between the bars.
But what a wonderful monster you would have made. Such a shame that you were so unwilling to even listen to the offer that I could have made you.
I still don't understand what you hope to achieve. After all your failures, the lack of control you had over those beasts. Harry chuckles, pouting.
Augustus, do not speak ill of your subordinates.
Be quiet.
Magic skitters across our skin for the briefest moments, a flash of indigo that lights up the dark space around us. Harry doesn't flinch, doesn't so much as blink.
You don't get to do that. You don't get to speak of them as if they were anything other than disposable to you.
August turns to me, their expression softening.
The decision is yours. He doesn't deserve to have me show him any mercy. Therefore, his fate is in your hands.
They pause, and then they walk away from him, leaning against the wall that separates his cell and the next. They're out of his sight, but I can see them clear as day. I look at my friend, at my enforcer. I almost loathe to be the one to make this decision, but August stirs a reprieve from all this. I nod at them, and Harry's smile fades. The one I called here to serve as my greatest creation is the one who finally decides my fate. Beautiful, I suppose. It's all coming full circle. I watch the bob of his throat as he swallows, his eyes fixed upon me, and only me. Yeah, sorry, bestie. You had your trials in the forest, and I deem you guilty. I can truly see no option where everyone wins. If I sentence him to die, I'm just as bad as he is. He's killed people, yes, and his actions are unforgivable, but to kill him would be a crime in itself. It's not only something that my name would forever be associated with, but something that would hurt August. I found myself thinking of James, too. Though he wanted Harry brought to justice, he would not want harm to come to him, not now that we have him. I'm sure we'll have to come up with some story about why the widely loved Lieutenant General of Escra has stepped down from his post. Having to explain why his head is no longer attached to his body would be trickier. To tell people what he's done would only scare them, and they're scared enough by the inhuman things that walk the earth that we're sworn to protect them from. We need them to trust us, not to think that the ones who guard them can hurt them too. You'll remain in chains for the rest of your life. You'll get no trial and no chance to explain or redeem yourself. Out of the corner of my eye, I see August turning and walking away. I listen to the echo of their steps getting quieter as they disappear before I look at Harry again. Harry looks at me as though he's almost disappointed. Is that it? I gather that you wanted me to kill you. If what you said back in the clearing is anything to go by, I will not give you what you wish for. Instead, you will live a miserable life in solitude. Maybe I'll give you a chance to think about all the things you've done. I turn away from him, readying myself to walk out of these dungeons and to never see his face again. We all have to live with the consequences of your actions. So shall you. As I begin to move away, I hear a loud bang, fists hitting the metal, and maniacal laughter. A sound that follows me long after I push open the exit door and feel the cold air upon my face. I find August in their office, standing before the window that overlooks Lunaris. The town is peaceful at this hour, the townsfolk tucked safely in their beds. I quietly approached, almost not wanting to disturb them. You did so well, Gray.
I am infinitely proud of you and happy to call you my subordinate, though I'm sure I've valued your guidance far more than you valued mine in your time here.
You're a good enforcer, August. Impossible, Lieutenant. August grimaces, but I see a smile curling at the corner of their lips.
Temporary, Lieutenant. Don't get too excited. When the other higher-ups arrive to assess the situation, I may very well be out of a job entirely.
That would be a crime in itself. You've done more for Lunaris than Harry ever did. You will do more. Their smile is genuine, but they look exhausted as I feel.
You're kind, but I know these people. Besides, I cannot bring myself to think of anything other than passing out in my bed right now, as should you.
Go. Get Ezra to check you over. You look downright pasty. Yes, you're right. I reach for the handle of the door, pausing before I step outside. Good night, August. And thank you for everything. They smile again, turning back to look over their town. And I need a healer. 3 months later. Today is the day. Today, I'm going to stand in front of Lunaris, in front of people who view me as a hero, in front of my found family, and I'm going to become the Lieutenant General of Escria. Well, of the Hunters anyway, because we've made some changes. August will become Lieutenant General of Escria, stepping into Harry's shoes, but with, morals. Piper is finally getting her previous title back too, having more than earned it. We've come such a long way, and it hasn't been an easy feat, but we're determined. Today's the day. Though my head is relatively clear, I decide to go for a little walk. I've been back to the scene of my class with Harry a few times now, mainly because I hoped I might get to speak to James again, or maybe just have a sign that he's still here, that he's okay. I think of him often, and I believe he was with me there that night, a lingering presence that pushed me to win, to not give up. I can't help but wonder what he thinks of Harry now. Is he really there in that cell, talking to him on that day? Or maybe he's passed over from whatever in-between he was stuck in. I hope. It's summer in Lunaris now, but there's still chill in the air and the grass is crisp beneath my boots as I walk into the clearing. Maybe it's just the passing of seasons, but it feels like life is breathing back into the small town. Everything feels easier. Harry still resides in the dungeons beneath Lunaris, serving out his sentence in the place he tried to destroy amongst people he tried to ruin. Long gone are the enforcers who assisted him, regardless of if they claimed to have been coaxed or threatened into helping. There are no excuses for what they did. I'm yet to visit again. Maybe I never will, but I know August has a few times. They pity him, I think, after everything. I don't question them on it. I take a deep breath, crouching down to press my fingers to the still scorched earth. Apparently, things don't grow back if they've been touched by August's magic. I decide that this is the last time I'll come here. It feels freeing. On my way to visit Ezra, I decide to stop by the Ibex to check in with our favorite creepy duo. Aurora has laid low since Harry's downfall. She's probably thoroughly disappointed I didn't succumb to his nefarious plan and turn into an unidentifiable monstrosity. And also, if you do choose to do that, you do get some extra scenes with Aurora, and it's good. It's really good CG. Maybe she would have thought it charming, or even wanted to date me. She definitely is into it. Not at all strange or unnerving. I walk towards the dais. The air a little warmer here since I remember, the sun shining through the cracked windows and illuminating the lectern. There stands Amaros, as coy as ever, and quite obviously making a point to avoid eye contact, in the hope I'll not notice him, I assume. I can see you. Hunter on right. Hello, Eremos. He takes a deep breath and stands in the aisle, his hands clasped politely in front of him. Also, I think that the Hunter and Eremos' relationship in Omen's route specifically is very cute, because you're kind of like, you guys are kind of like in-laws, and you're like, well, I gotta stand up for my fellow human. We have this like weird connection, but he's a sweet boy. He's a sweet boy with a weird sister. Can I help you with anything? I shrug, not really knowing why I'm here. I was just passing by. Is Aurora about? His mouth twists, his pale blue eyes darting to the side. Considering his sister is so very good about not giving anything away, Maris has absolutely no subtlety about him. She left. Left? Left where? He tilts his head, making eye contact. Left Lunaris. I see. Any particular reason? He sighs and gestures for me to follow him. We sit in the pews in the front row, and Eremos leans back, tipping his head and gazing up at the dome ceiling. I imagine it was so beautiful here once. Then he sits up, fixing his jacket and frowning, twisting slightly to face me. I've dutifully followed my sister my whole life, you know. I lost her parents to vampires at 14, and even before then, Aurora was fascinated by creatures. She would sneak out at night and seek them out in the graveyard behind our estate. I began to lose count of how many times I saved her, always dragging her out of the way of claws or teeth. They didn't try to kill you? Your parents? He shakes his head, looking down at his hands where they rest in his lap. They didn't get the chance. Hunters came not long after they rose from their graves. Aurora was there. She saw everything. She truly believed they wouldn't have harmed her. So that's where Aurora's resentment for us comes from. I almost pitied her. Almost. You never seemed to be on board with her beliefs. Why continue to follow her? Eremos laughs. It's a pleasant sound, and he looks like a different man. Lighter, somehow. I've never had anyone else. I love my sister, Grey. Despite her eccentricities, I never wanted any harm to come to her. I'm a patient man, and I would follow her to hell and back if required. But, he laughs again. Yes. But I've always wanted my own life. I have that now with Elaine. His pale cheeks turn bright pink the second her name leaves his lips. It's adorable. You're in love with her. He nods, his mouth curling into a soft smile. I'm going to ask her to marry me. I'm going to ask Satan's daughter to marry me. I told my sister, and she fled town. I can't help but laugh. It feels impossibly rude the second the noise erupts. I cover my mouth with my hand, but Eremos is laughing too. You'd think she'd be thrilled to have the Princess of Hells as her sister-in-law, wouldn't you? You would, yes, but then my sister has always been full of surprises. She'll be back, though. We've never been apart for more than a day or two at most. I think she's just reassessing her life and her choices. Hopefully. Well, I am happy for you, Eremos. Just please don't start trying to terrorize our town, our nice, newly peaceful town, okay? He blushes again, nodding as if I wasn't joking. Well, kind of wasn't, I guess. I swear it. It's fine, it's cute. We get to have a wedding! Also, apparently the hunter catches the bouquet, which is extremely cute. We both turn at the sound of the entrance doors creaking open, and there stands Elaine, silhouetted by sunlight. I look at Eremos, and the way his face lights up at the way he quickly stands and brushes non-existent dust from his trousers and tucks his blonde hair behind his ears. Hey, it's lovely to see you. Demon offers me a curtsy and smiles sweetly, her brown eyes flickering curiously between Eremos and I. She must sense his mood and places a delicate hand upon his arm, which he immediately covers with his own. Where is Aurora, Army? Army? Oh, well, I decide that's my cue to give them some privacy. The news that Aurora fled will be startling, but I imagine his proposition will be even more so. I have to go. I need to prepare for tonight. Have I need to? Eremos nods in silent thanks. I wish you well. Do stop by any time, won't you? An olive branch. Maybe even the start of a new relationship between us and whatever is left of the Ibex. I'm interested to see what will become under Eremos' lead. And fix it up in here. Or if it will become anything at all. Goodbye, and congratulations. Omen tells me that you're transforming later. New beginnings and forms are always wonderful. Yeah, I'm transforming. I will complete my transition. I stifle a smile, assuming that both she and August still have the wrong idea about what the ceremony entails. I do hope he isn't disappointed when I don't sprout wings. That'd be fun. Turn into like a winged demon or angel. Thank you, Elaine. Eremos. I feel her eyes upon me as I leave, though for the first time I feel it isn't out of scrutiny, but likely for the polite peace they need before exciting anxiety blooms between two lovers. When I step into the street, Omen immediately appears, whipping around to face me, his movement so sharp I have to step back and raise my hands warily. I have no doubt he would never hurt me, but still. Not that it takes words or even my senses to see the demon prince is well rattled. There's a sharp pinch to Omen's brow, and flame wisps trail at his hair. Noticing me staring, though, some of that fades away. Omen smiles sheepishly. Oh, he's so cute. Sorry. A respectful distance away, Alcar shorts and straightens from where he's been leaning against the wall. He gently pats Omen on the back. It's fine. Are you alright? Part of me wonders if it's another earth-shattering problem about to roll in the town, and I'm definitely not fucking ready for that. It would certainly be poetic to have my promotion crash right here, right now, but I don't want to get caught between the next big thing and Alc's rage if the ceremony is postponed. My unease must have been evidenced because even as Omen opens his mouth to answer, Alcar laughs. Elaine is getting married. What? Armos plans to do that thing mortals do. Propose. Yes. Oh, that. It occurs to me then that Elaine might have been speaking to Omen about that just before she arrived in the Ibex. Clearly, he's not half as excited about the prospect it's either Armos or his sister. Omen wrings his hands together, and I'm not sure how I feel when I realize that he's more worried than angry. She'll say yes. This is a very exciting thing for her, I'm sure, to enter a sort of contract with a human. But humans are not good with promises. Aww. Not to say you're not, Gray. Oh. Behind him, Alcar rolls his eyes fondly and shakes his head. He places a hand on Omen's shoulder reassuringly, and I do the same on the other shoulder. Elaine is in good hands, Omen. Good, careful hands and heart. I haven't forgotten the sliver of her true power she permitted me to glimpse in the Ibex that day, but I have a feeling Aramos knows exactly what he's dealing with. Aramos is no fool and would never undervalue an oath, or a pact. In fact, I'm sure he's well aware of what he's getting into. Trust me, I've interrogated him enough to know. Besides, it would be unlike Elaine to involve herself with someone who is even remotely ignorant, yes? Omen sighs, but then gives me an inquisitive look. You and Elaine have talked much, then. In a sense, she has had thoughts she shared with me. Of course. It isn't her I worry for. She is capable and, as you said, not likely to care about ignorant mortals. And not sagely, though I must confess, it's nice to know after everything Omen seems genuinely concerned for Aramos' well-being. That he seems genuinely concerned for humans, period. I'm sorry, it's big shaken. No. He glances at Alcar uncertainly, who purses his lips in thought. Big shocker. Yes. But don't mistake my alarm for unhappiness or disapproving. Maybe this is the best way. Elaine and I shared many things. Our histories, our lives, our souls once. It is rare for her to engage with mortals as I do. Omen frowns at me, inclining his head. But I take it you'll watch them. Yes. There's little use lying about it. Shrewd it is to say, I am glad that the Princess of Hells decided to pick a man right under our eyes to involve herself with. And not just in our own defense. We live by our blades, but living is so much more than killing or dying. This peace we forged together and want to preserve it. Gray will be watching all of us. And honestly, I think you've got your work cut out for you, Lieutenant General. I am not Lieutenant General yet. Also, quick note, look at Alcar's little outfit upgrade for the ending, and his hands are shown, and it's very sweet. I love this cute little outfit.
In a few hours you will be. And I'm glad it's you. After all, imagine what it would have been like if Piper got it instead. Ugh.
Why do you marry her if I marry Omen? Now that's a thought. Though I'm sure you're glad that isn't the case. Yeah, she's done fine. She cares about this town and super problems more than she makes it sound like. And we all have been here anyway. Alcar nudges Omen, and the demon blinks and shudders as though waking from a dream. There's a shift in the air around him that I notice, the same sense of movements like when someone snatches back their hand. You were talking with Elaine? Yes. He sighs and wrings his hands together again. She wants my thoughts on things. I need to talk to her as soon as possible, immediately. He stares into the distance and claps his hand over Alcar, still resting on his shoulder after all this time, and slips away. I will see you later, okay? He sketches a short but graceful bow, then walks briskly to the nearest alleyway. I shake my head as his presence retreats with supernatural speed. As soon as he's gone, Alcar chuckles. Bet you anything Elaine's gonna rope him in with helping her pick color themes for the wedding. Good for her. Oh. I mean, yeah, I love weddings. It would be very cute to kind of imagine they're definitely creepy, but also very fun wedding. And my entire department will have a meeting tomorrow on how to handle this goddamn beloved, miraculous town chock full of wonders, Like, not one, but two powerful demons, among other things, one of which is going to get married to a human who held a cult against our kind. Fucking Lunaris. I can't imagine how not happy August will be to hear about it, but what can he do? What can a Lieutenant General do, indeed? I look up to see Alcar watching me. His smirk only winds into a grin, though, and he inclines his head, wolf ears twitching. Gotta get going before Willenheim tears down half the town looking for you for being 10 minutes late. They don't tolerate tardiness. Oh, most certainly. See you later, Alcar. Aye, aye, General. Alcar walks backwards until he too disappears away Omenblends, giving one last shitting grin, that ever-endearing half-ass wave. Edger's shop is busy, a line of townsfolk impatiently waiting outside. I decide to sneak in the back door to avoid unavoidable conversations. In the kitchen, I find Finn and Alcar arm wrestling. I literally just saw you. Alcar quickly turns his head and frowns at me.
And what about it?
How'd you get here so fast? He ignores me, concentrating too hard on making sure Finn doesn't snap his arm off, I assume. I roll my eyes and pull up a chair, smirking as I watch Alcar's arm shake. Finn quirks one of those dark brows at me and winks. He always insists I use my prosthetic. Silly of him, don't you think? Alcar growls, his face turning beet red with the effort. Shut up, Mosquito Man. I'd win in a second if you used your normal one. Finn and I share a knowing look seconds before he slams Arthur's fist onto the table to find china upon it clinking loudly with the force. There might even be a dent in the wood from the impact. 4-0. Want to go again? He wiggles his iron fingers, the magic in them flickering teasingly. Then Ezra appears, his arms folded across his chest, and I don't think I've ever seen Finn move so fast. Got caught, buddy.
Hey, what if I told you two about doing that in here?
Go ruin the furniture in the tavern.
They won't let us.
Oh, really? I do wonder why. He pointedly looks at the ridge and his lovely little table, then back between the wolf and the vampire.
No more. Don't you have some important vampire business to attend to? And Alcar, well, I don't know what you could possibly have to do, actually.
Alcar huffs and puffs, sliding down his chair and crossing his arms. Finn sidles up to Ezra, grinning as he reaches for his face.
Angel, I was just keeping him out of trouble.
Ezra narrows his eyes at him, but his body language betrays him as he greedily leans into the vampire's touch.
You're both as bad as each other.
Finn presses a kiss to his cheek, and Ezra can no longer stifle a smile. He turns his face and lets Finn capture his lips in a quick kiss. They're so sweet. Alcar groans, making loud retching noises as he stands, his chair scraping across the tiled floor.
I'm definitely fucking going if they're doing that.
Finn throws him a deathly glare that makes him wither, and I stand to address Ezra. Seems busy. Do you need any help? He quickly shakes his head. No, you have enough going on today. Go, I'll be fine. Gives Alcar one final cursory glance before he parts the lavender curtain and disappears. Don't you two actually have somewhere better to be? They look at each other and shrug at the exact same time. Alcar waltzing around and prodding Finn's chest with his thumb.
Mr. Walking Combustible here can't go to the wolf until the sun goes down, can he? So no. Clearly I need better friends. Less flammable ones who don't ruin my drinking time.
Finn swats him away and growls, which only seems to egg Alcar on. I actually do have somewhere to be. Sorry, but I can't babysit you.
You're as boring as you are old.
Estelle swishes behind him as he makes for the door, sending Finn scrambling into the corner, away from the sunlight that streams through the gap. Later, Pratt. I tilt my head and grin at him. Do you actually have somewhere to be? He smiles.
No, I was just going to go home and find something fancy to wear for your special moment.
Oh. Will it have buttons?
Absolutely not.
Then why would it have buttons? He looks when you know, you can see all of that. After Ezra's, I headed home to get changed into my new uniform. I've never had to wear one before, and I suppose I don't now, but I want to show the people who I am and what I do. Show them that I'm here to protect them and that I'm proud to do so. August decided to redesign her sash. It's blue to represent stability, trust, wisdom, and most importantly, loyalty. So, when I walk through Lunaris bathed in black, gold, and sky blue, I feel a sense of renewal. change, and pride. There are people setting up outside headquarters for the ceremony. Hunters and enforcers pour out of every room as I head down the corridor toward August's office, all of them with smiles plastered on their faces. I gently tap on the door, and immediately it swings open. Piper's standing there grinning at me, dressed in her new uniform. Whoa. Oh, she looks so good. Oh. Piper snorts and does a little spin, showing off. You like it? I step inside, closing the door behind me. You look amazing, General. Then I see August. Oh, shit. Wow. They look stunning. Like, oh my god, the little beads and the sash, the gold. God, they both look so good. I mean, this town is so hot. They appear from behind their desk, and suddenly I feel horribly underdressed. You both look incredible. You too, Lieutenant. They gesture at the papers that adorn their desk. Shall we?
We need to come to an agreement on all of this, and fast. I have an hour until my speech, and I'd quite like to not fuck it up.
Piper rests her elbows on her knees and her chin in her hands. She squints down at the papers of elegant script.
You know exactly what I don't agree with. Everything else is fine.
August and I share a look. They seem upset over knowing what thing Piper disagrees with, and they know I don't exactly feel much excitement over it either. I speak before they get the chance. Nah, they're children. Children. We cannot continue to mutate in innocence. We need to find a new way to defend Eskria. August glares at me, but I continue. Would I have known what they were doing to me, I would have refused.
August, I appreciate that you think it's necessary, and I know that doesn't come from a bad place, but...
I don't have the right. I could never understand how it feels. Witches are born with their magic. It is not inflicted upon them.
They sit in their chair and run their hand over their face, tapping their finger against their lips. If Harry can find a way to manipulate, then we can find a way as well. We both look at her like she's lost the plot. She huffs.
Oh, hush. You know what I mean. I'm not talking about making monsters. I'm talking about finding a way to make us strong without making us monsters.
How? Wouldn't they have done that? Wouldn't they have already done that? Piper bursts out laughing. August finally stops tapping their lip and raises their brow at her.
You really think they'd do some actual work and research when they have what they need already? No way. They get free blood from the monsters they kill. And they get their little army of mini-monsters too.
She's right. There must be another way. Piper, clearly ready to violently refute whatever they said, sits slack-jawed. You agree with me? August shrugs.
I don't exactly thrill at the idea of all the extra work it would bring us. Me, specifically. But it would be worth it. Worth making sure that what we do is fair and ethical. Or at least as much as it can be under such extreme circumstances.
I agree. We are fighting a war and must do whatever we can to ensure our survival. It doesn't mean we should sacrifice our humanity to do it. With that, August sits back and pulls a clean piece of parchment from their drawer. They pick up their quill and begin to write. When they're finished, the three of us sign it, and a new rule is born. We will do whatever we can to leave behind the barbaric ways of our predecessors. Piper runs her hands together, almost greedily. I'm beginning to think she's lying about not liking this diplomatic bullshit. She's good at it, too. Now, our second task.
As the creatures, our relationship with them right now is perilous at best. Even the ones that bring no harm don't really like us that much. And they're more than essential to our survival as an agency that actually succeeds.
Can't blame them, really. Harry was out there kidnapping and killing even the good ones. Gray, what do you think? We need a stronger alliance. Listen, I mean, as a hunter, we have just been bonding with all of the creatures in the town, so yeah. There's no question about it when it comes to our relationship with the creatures. We have to do everything we can to fix the fractures Harry caused. As you said, they're essential. Then I pause, carefully considering my next words. Have we ever thought about having creatures working within the agency? They both stare at me like I've lost my fucking mind, just as I expected them to. You're saying we should sum some lichens and some demons in our uniform and off they pop? You're mental. August says nothing and just keeps staring at me. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's creatures out there who want peace just as much as we do. Creatures have enough power to actually convince others of their kind either to join us or leave us alone. A representative, maybe. Not a new branch, just creature relations. Someone to be our liaison when required. I do I do fondly have a modern AU that kind of branched off from this, where it's this cast, but obviously in a modern setting. Probably most akin to something like Parks and Rec, where the cast works in like an office setting for like the creature relation department of Lunaris, as like a workplace comedy, and it's I adore it. Piper looks like her eyes are gonna drop out of her skull. She has them so
I
wide.
cannot believe you're actually thinking about this.
You don't have to sign the paper. She doesn't sound angry, just tired. I get it. It's not ideal, I know. But what if we could find other ways to lessen the attacks on our kind, then why the hell not? We just put strict rules in place and ensure that they have too much to lose if they betray us. August eyes Piper, who has fallen strangely silent. I think she knows that this will be good for us, despite her personal views on the matter. She nods. I'll sign. August offers her a small smile and picks up their quill. We all sign once again, ready to tackle our final conflict. Now we discuss you, both of you. Piper and I share a glance, and she sits a little straighter in her chair. I think that sometimes Piper truly does forget how important August is about to become.
Hunters have long been governed by us, the enforcers. I personally feel like that is unfair, because what the hell do we know about putting our lives on the line, right?
You do. You know. They look at her, tilting their head in question.
You know, August, you've gotten your hands dirty more times than any of those other pencil pushers. I'll never have a better partner.
August's expression softens. They almost look they might cry, or at least think about crying. I had no idea you felt that way. Piper scuffs her boots on the floor, looking anywhere but at August. Yeah, well, after everything that happened, I blocked it out. I'm sorry, Piper. About all of it.
I promise to do better by you, which is why I'm proposing that we create a new hierarchy, or rearrange our current one at least. Many enforcers aren't fit to dictate what higher-ranking hunters do. They're more concerned with politics than they are with the safety of our people.
Take the decision out of the hands of those who value bureaucracy above all else, and into the hands of the ones who are literally created to know how to save lives. Within reason, yes. I will need to consider this a little more carefully. It's complicated, and I'll value both of your inputs. Piper grins at me.
Can't believe it's taken the agency this long to realize it.
It's taken the agency this long to have a good leader. Yes, well, a fresh start. Now, we should go. They'll be waiting for us. August stands and fixes their uniform, fiddling with the end of their braid. They're nervous. Also, they look so good in a braid. August, you have nothing to worry about. I just don't want to let anyone down. His shadow lingers over me. No, it doesn't. None of them know what he did, and they won't either. As far as they're concerned, this is the natural progression, and it is. Despite all that Harry did, it would still be you standing up there if he stood down gracefully. Piper creeps closer and rests her hand upon August's shoulder. Bray is right. You deserve this, and I can't imagine it being anyone else. August inhales, then exhales sharply. Let's go. It passes in a blur. I watch Piper get her title back, the highest ranked hunter in Lunaris after me. She smiles the whole time, staring out into the crowd as they cheer for her. She's given extra honors for involvement in the Harry investigation. None of these people who clap and grin for us really know what happens, but they don't care. All they care is that they're safe. I step up to the podium and listen to August talks, and it feels like I'm underwater, like everything is muffled and far away. A few weeks ago, when I was told I had been offered this position, August pulled me aside and asked me if I wanted responsibility, and I asked them, why me? I expected them to shrug and respond with, why not, but they didn't. They said that Harry targeted me for a reason, for my stats and my kill count, but August began to see from the moment we started working together that Harry had it all wrong, that I am so much more than the strength I have and the lives I take, and that Harry never accounted for all the human parts of me, that I'm determined, that I want to fight to survive even when the odds are stacked against me, that I'm human above all else, despite the inhuman blood that runs through my veins. So, as August pins that badge to my coat and ties my sash around my waist, I remember those words, and I smile and wave at the gathering crowd, swearing to protect them no matter what. I see familiar faces out there. Finn, Ezra, Alcar, Raven, Lux, even Edna left the wolf to grimace at me from afar. I made Lunaris my home, somehow, after never really having one before. I'm grabbed by a familiar hand before I get sucked into the crowd of people who are apparently very interested in buying me drinks. She drags me along with little chance to protest, when whipping at my cheeks and leaving them pink as we run. Piper is laughing with her long hair flying behind her, and she makes me feel at ease, like all this ridiculous didn't just happen. We skid to a stop right outside the Wolf. The tavern is still apparently relatively quiet while the rest of town is still lingering around headquarters, and Piper pulls me into a crushing embrace. You're welcome, you know, my hero. She snorts and releases me. I need a drink. Come on. We nab a much-coveted window seat, and a surprisingly chipper Edna shuffles over, setting down drinks we haven't ordered yet. She winks, drying her hand on the towel that hangs from her trousers. On the house. She watches as Piper greedily grabs her tankard of ale from the tray. Just the one round, mind. Then, with a roll of her eyes, Edna returns to both her usual disgruntled state and her spot behind the bar.
Bloody hell. You really made an impression if Edna is giving you freebies. That woman is a viper.
The tavern begins to fill, and Piper sighs heavily, setting her drink down. We should have more time for these silly, boring, normal things now. Don't bet on it. August is our boss. She gives me the stink eye. Oh, come on. Just let me dream, yeah? And she mimics her voice almost perfectly, but not quite as refined.
We have work to do. Stop fucking around, Merriman.
I laugh, swatting at her to stop when she begins to pose like them too. When have you ever heard August say fucking? She quickly grabs her ale and takes an impressive, drawn-out sip.
I've heard them say lots of things other people haven't. It must be my charm that brings it out in them.
Mm-hmm. Right, your charm. She crinkles her nose. We watch fondly as the townsfolk of Lunaris go about their evening, laughing, drinking, losing their money at Game of Cards. It feels remarkably normal, and I wonder if this is what life will really be like from now on. If it is, I think I'm okay with it. I'm sitting here in a shitty tavern in a tiny, weird town with my brash colleague. But taking orders from a long-haired witch with an eye-rolling addiction. I smile. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Lunaris is home now. The end. We've reached an end. Shoot. Let me do a quick credits for the story there. An absolutely incredible job by the whole team around it, art, writing, everything there. Absolutely incredible design. Of course, our amazing voice cast. And yeah, it's just been, this game means so very much to me. And yeah, I highly recommend you check it out for yourself if you haven't already, because it is just absolutely incredible. It's available on Steam and itch.io. I would recommend getting it on itch.io because more of the money goes directly to the creator through there. And I believe you get a Steam key with it. I definitely got a Steam key with my itch.io purchase. So I'm pretty sure you get that anyway if you want to get the achievements and stuff. But yeah, it is so much fun. And there is truly like an incredible amount of content. Like that was kind of only scratching the surface of like sort of just the basic route throughout it. But there's different branching options. Obviously, different endings you get is through the 8 different romances with each one of the 6 characters, and then with Ezra and Finn and Alcar and Omen. And yeah, there's also extras that we will not be going through today, as the extras are based on the routes. But yeah, we can look at, we managed to get plenty of things from the Codex. We're missing something there. There we go. I think that's Omen's first drop into Lunaris there. There's plenty of different stories and information within the Codex. You can go through for yourself. There's a beautiful gallery of all the CGs you unlock. So you see we get our gorgeous Enforcer here, and from chapters 4 on, these are all romanceable CGs that will are locked because we didn't complete their route. There's also, you know, various other options through there. If you remember the very sweet portrait of Harry and James. And yeah, and as well, there is the mini stories, of course, possibly a chimera, probably a big fucking cat, followed by Till Death, which you make of that one what you will, and then the Halloween one, which are all very adorable and cute. And yeah, we will be leaving it there. Thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, I have had so much a blast playing through this game. It's always been one of my favorites, and yeah, it just has a special place in my heart. And well, let's look, it's beautiful, beautiful babes. And yes, goodbye from Lunaris, and we'll be ending off there. All right, bye.